It's now time for The Sit Down with Don Tony.
The Sit Down, where Don Tony talks one-on-one with his followers.
What are you looking at?
About the world of pro wrestling, pop culture, and so much more.
The Sit Down with Don Tony.
And now, your host, Don Tony.
I ruffled a couple of feathers yesterday. Wow. Good evening, everybody. Good day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. For all of you, I would like to extend it to your moms, those that are with us still, those are looking down from above in spirit. And, you know, for those that are having a rather difficult day because of those circumstances, you know, always remember, you know, they have truly never left you as long as you carry on their legacy. You know, I mentioned this earlier on social media. You know, my grandmother died in 1991. I actually posted a picture on Twitter of both my grandmothers and my mom. Very rare photo. But, you know, I miss my grandmother dearly. She's the one that got me into pro wrestling back in 1979. I would not be doing this right now if it wasn't for her. And every show, every hotline, I mean, I may not consciously say to myself before I go live, you know, Grandma, this is for you. But believe me when I tell you, ever since we started this in 97, everything that I do related to these shows has always been dedicated to her. I miss her dearly. I miss my other grandmother, too. My other grandmother was a little bit of a different story because she only spoke Italian. So even when I was around, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. Like, you know, manja. Yeah, that I know. But I miss her also. And had a nice day today, spending it with my mom. You know, very, very nice quality time. But I am back here for all of you. And this is the Sit Down with yours truly. I want to thank you all for joining me. Now, for those that are new, basically what the format on Sundays usually is I sit here with nothing planned. Whatever you want to talk about, as long as you're live in the chat, you ask the questions, I give the answers, my opinions. You have comments you want to share, I'd be more than happy to do so as well. Super chats are not required, but obviously they are appreciated. They go back into the shows and we'll always get VIP treatment. Now, next Sunday, we're going to do something a little different. I've been getting a lot of feedback, and it's not just over the last week. I've been getting a lot of feedback for the last 3 months, 4 months especially. Different things to tinker with, try to address some other issues going on, dealing with others that are always trying to, like, pull viewers or listeners away from yours truly, which is all cool in the gang and everything. You tune into whatever you want to tune into. One of the things that kept popping up over and over and over again is DT. You know, yes, we go to you for wrestling news and discussion and everything, but, you know, there's real life shit going on. You know, there's everyday stuff. There's social issues. People have personal issues. And a lot of you feel that that is something missing amongst the wrestling world. Like, why once in a while do we not just sit back as friends, as just an extended family, and just talk about everything else but wrestling? So we're going to do it next Sunday. A little bit of coffee, a little bit of real talk. I'm not saying that wrestling will not be on the table, but we will talk about just everything about life, you know, just good things, bad things, you know, tough things. You know, it's going to be an interesting show. We'll see where it goes. If it gets a nice response, we'll continue from there. We'll figure out how we can make it on a more regular basis. Somebody's asking me, what did I mean at the beginning saying I ruffled feathers? All right. This is not 100% set in stone yet. I'm not sure how I'm going to address it, but I am changing things as far as the video side goes. I'm in my 50s now. And, you know, this is a second job. It's turned into a second job. I love it. I have fun doing it. But, you know, I notice that, you know, when I switched the show to a different day and time, I noticed a couple other people switched their shows to the same date and right around the same time. You know, I moved something strategically to Discord, and I see a few people trying to do that. And that's fine. I don't mind. I mean, it's really whatever people want to tune into. But I've decided if I'm going to stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get 2, 3 hours sleep, then have to work a full-time job and just burn myself out because I'm somebody's second choice, third choice, well, that's cool. But going forward, I haven't decided yet when it's going to start. It might be June 1st. I haven't even decided how I'm going to go with it. But I think all the video on this channel from now on is going to be members only. But it'll be, when it's live, it's open to everybody. Basically, I call it the snooze, you lose method. If you decide you want to tune into someone else live, that's fine. If you decide you want to check out my shit afterwards, audio will always be free. DonTony.com will always be open to everyone. That will never change. But if I'm going to do video, because the last 2 weeks I did not do Wednesday live, I got a lot of email complaints like, hey, man, you know, I want to tune in live. I want to socialize. I want to mingle with others. You know, we're in a wrestling mind. And I'm like, all right, you know, if I'm going to do that and stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, I want it to be worth it. And I know that sounds like a tough thing to say, but I think going forward, you snooze, you lose. If you want to go check out someone else's show live, that's fine. But if you want to check out video here afterwards, if you're not a channel member, shit out of luck. That's basically where I'm going with it. Believe me when I tell you, some people who are loyal here that are not channel members, I will gift you channel members. But I haven't, listen, it'll be weeks in advance. I'm not going to surprise anybody with it. I am talking to a few people as far as the best way to go, but that's probably what's going to be coming in the very near future. Patreon will still be the same. DonTony.com will still be the same, just as far as video, because look, you know, doing video, especially everything's time sensitive. Mondays have to start at 11 o'clock at night. Stupid for me to start at 6. Raw hasn't happened yet. Wednesdays have to be 10 o'clock at night. Fridays, people have been asking about doing Fridays. We might do Fridays again. Fridays would have to start at 10 o'clock at night. So now it's like, okay, you know, if we're going to work that extra time, you choose to tune into someone else live instead, that's cool. But if you want to check out the video, well, if you're not a member, shit out of luck. That's kind of where this is going. I know Wrestling Observer kind of does a similar setup, just they don't offer it live for everybody. So, but again, if it's live, it's open to everybody. I don't want anybody to feel you have to pay, you know, but if I'm going to stay these crazy hours and continue doing this stuff, I'm not going to be, you know, the second, third, fourth choice for people. You know, it's just, it's not beneficial. It's not even just the money thing. It's just the amount of work that's involved. And I try to put in a decent amount of work and effort. You know, it's not easy to try to clear up everybody else's clickbait. You know, all those attractive, you know, things that people are putting out there. And, you know, nah, I'm not going to deal with that. So you snooze, you lose. So with that said, all right, let's get into some wrestling discussion. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who sent some super chats a little bit early. Big Sal, Ronnie C, and Steve Joseph. I will get into your 3 comments in 5 minutes because the live chat was kind enough to let me just talk for a couple of minutes about, you know, nonsense. I'd like to go to the chat room right off the bat. Shout out to Maggie Lust. Thank you for the kind words. Tristan, Marvin, Gruss, Mo Words, Vintage Maggle, which has got a deleted message, so maybe it was nasty. Chris, William, do I see Roman and Solo winning the tag belts? No. They're doing the Brock Lesnar thing with Roman now. They're getting people frustrated at Roman for not really defending the title, so it's going to make fans want even more to somebody take the title off of Roman. And then at the end of the day, which will be a little bit unfair to Roman Reigns. It'll definitely be unfair to Roman Reigns. Some people will be like, oh, good, thank you, full-time wrestler with the championship. Now this title will be defended again. Understand, when it was on Brock Lesnar and it never got defended, that was not Brock Lesnar's fault. That was WWE putting it on a part-timer. You know, last week I saw some stupid news. I didn't even address it because it wasn't news, but people turned it into news. Brock Lesnar, not subject to steroids tests, not subject to drug testing, not the blood policy doesn't apply to Brock. About a year or two ago, it was all over there. Triple H said it clearly that Brock Lesnar is a part-time wrestler and is not under the same deal as everybody else. Brock Lesnar is not subject because he's considered part-time, even independent contractor. Yeah, I know that sounds fucked up, but hey, you know, this is the deal that they did with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar does not want to work full-time. Brock Lesnar seems like he's having a lot more fun now than he did in past years. Understand, when WWE put that championship on him and didn't make him defend it for months, that was not Brock's fault. That was WWE for making that decision to put it on him and to toy. And that's what they're doing now with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns should be defending his championships in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, chances of him losing the titles in Saudi Arabia is slim to none. And the reason why he's not defending the championships in Saudi Arabia is that WWE never bought it after WrestleMania to set up any storylines or anything to justify or to give an opportunity to someone. No tournament after WrestleMania. The SmackDown after WrestleMania. We're going to crown the new number one contender, or we're going to crown whoever wins this tournament faces Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. They never did it. They did nothing. It's not Roman's fault. It's WWE's fault. It's the same mindset about LA Knight. People are now starting to realize LA Knight's getting the push. Don't worry. WWE sees social media and his name trending, and social media is in an uproar. They're doing their job well. You're doing exactly what WWE expects you to do. The more LA Knight is not being used, the more LA Knight is being misused, the more frustrating you get, the more you talk about him, the more you speak complaints to this and that. So now when LA Knight finally starts getting the push, they did listen. It's because of us. We changed WWE's mind. You didn't change their mind. They think that if they cock tease you, give you blue balls over and over and over again, that the minute that pussy or penis is available, you're like, dish, dish, dish. They're teasing you. They're dangling it. Remember I used the example with the dog with the biscuit? You dangle it in front of the dog's mouth and the dog goes to bite it and you pull it away. And the dog's like, what the fuck? And then you dangle it again. You keep doing that. That dog wants that biscuit so much. He's going to make love to that biscuit, even if that biscuit tastes like garbage. So, no, Roman Reigns is not winning the tag titles, because that is just going to anger fans to the point where I think people will be like, you know what, I'm done. I know majority of fans are not going to stop watching because Roman is a tag team champion, but no, there is no chance. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa will not be winning the tag team championships. The Usos may try to get involved and fuck up. Maybe they intentionally cause Roman and Solo to lose. Listen, that match of Roman and Solo versus the Usos, that's the match that is still on the table. It's on the table next to the sausage and peppers. Remember that. Remember who told you right after WrestleMania that there was going to be a tournament for the championships, for the tag titles, right after the draft. Trust me, they're teasing Roman and Solo versus the Usos, and the story has to play out. So, okay. Steve is asking, what do we see coming out of Night of Champions? Well, you know, we haven't gotten all of the matches as of yet. There's still matches undecided. I'm very, very intrigued of what they're going to do with Trish Stratus if she performs in Saudi Arabia. In my opinion, and I've been saying this for months, Trish Stratus has got to get the Saudi Arabia payday. Yesterday on the Don Tony show, we talked in detail about why Sami Zayn is likely going to Saudi Arabia. I don't think WWE is going to tease it and not do it. You don't do that with the Saudi fans if people haven't noticed. If you haven't checked out yesterday's show, believe me, check it out, because we got into some very specific world news that is, I can almost guarantee you, is the reason why Sami Zayn is going to Saudi Arabia. It's a big deal. It's just that most people aren't talking about it. So coming out of Night of Champions, I think the biggest news coming out of it, other than Seth Rollins winning the World Heavyweight Championship, is the continuation of the storyline with the Bloodline, the infighting of the Bloodline. I think that's the biggest thing coming out of this. Other than that, I think we got to give it one more week, see what other matches get announced, and go from there. But I don't see, listen, $50 million, they're going to do a lot. But I think in the overall scope, you're not going to change storylines, or you're not going to change people's momentum simply because of, one particular event. That's why, again, nothing against Zelina Vega. I fucking, very, very happy for her, and I've become a big fan. I root for her big time. She absolutely should not have defeated Rhea Ripley for that championship. Just for that, immediate emotion, everybody's crying and this and that. And then what? A week later, she's got to drop the title back to Rhea Ripley. It's like, no. Sometimes that's why Sami Zayn should not have defeated Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber. I don't care if it was in Canada. You got to think of the overall picture. It's like what people have said in the past. Cody Rhodes losing at WrestleMania is fine, as long as there's a plan. And yes, the plan is the chase, the destination. The story will be finished when Cody Rhodes defeats Roman. Believe me when I tell you, this is not going to be Drew McIntyre Clash at the Castle. This is not going to be Sami Zayn in Elimination Chamber with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes will finish the story. We're going to have to wait. Yeah, in 2023, we don't want to wait. We got no choice. We are forced to wait. So, and again, that's why I even say, tune into yesterday's show. The Brock Lesnar is part of the storyline, especially what's being discussed with Paul Heyman. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. And it now makes a whole lot of sense why Brock Lesnar has given no explanation as to why he attacked Cody Rhodes. Just don't mind me, I'm drinking coffee. These fellow mugs are good, but it's metal rim, so you got to be careful. You could kind of like burn yourself. So, all right, let's head over to some super shout-outs, because these were very generous contributions that came in a little bit earlier. All right, first on the agenda, Big Sal. Since AEW began, who would I consider their MVP? This is a question that I've been asked before, and thank you for the 5 spot, brother. In my opinion, it's Chris Jericho, and it's not even close. Is Chris Jericho their best wrestler on the roster? No. But Chris Jericho name value, it holds a lot of weight. Chris Jericho putting in beyond full-time. That guy, a lot of storylines centered around him. A lot of people feel that his feud with MJF pulled back MJF a little bit, might have hurt him. People feel the Ricky Starks feud with him might have hurt him. The Orange Cassidy feud might have hurt Orange Cassidy. When I say him, I mean the foes against Chris Jericho. The Acclaimed. The Acclaimed remember, they kind of went at it. Jericho appreciated the Acclaimed, like, why did they take the titles off to the Gun Club? And then it gets to FDR. Why aren't they getting a title shot? Oh, no, 2.0. We're going to wine and dine the Acclaimed. We want you in the Jericho Appreciation Society. Nah. Yo, listen. Our run was cut short. And yeah, we're pissed. Those tag team titles, they are sorely missed around our waist. We're kind of angry. I didn't eat dinner. I admit, I am fucking hangry. It got interrupted with the Jericho Appreciation Society, and now it's the Butcher, the Blade, the Sabian, the Homo sapien. You know, it's like, come on. So, yeah, Jericho may have indirectly hurt some people along the way, but that guy, name value, crowd is still into his song, everything, the presentation. You know, he, to me, is the MVP. Behind the scenes also. A lot of people don't like. You know, remember, I'm not taking claim that I'm the first person that said it. But a couple of years ago, I said on this show, when Cody Rhodes left, that the number one guy behind the scenes outside of Tony Khan was going to be Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was going to be the number two guy. I don't think anybody disputes that now. I think Jericho, overall, MVP of AEW. I really do believe that. Not just what we see on TV, but behind the scenes. I can't criticize Jericho. Can't. And it's not because I've been a lifelong fan. You know, I still remember buying from WCW the Jerichoholics shirt when he was still in WCW. I mean, I've been following Jericho, Jesus, when he was in the War promotion, you know, doing stuff in Japan. Lion! That's how they would announce him in Japan. You'd think they would say Lion Heart. No, it would start Lion and then it would just go off the rails. Lion Heart. Ronnie C with a 10 spot. DT, did you read Eric Bischoff's comments about Tony Khan and AEW being a well-paid hobby? Do I agree with Eric? I did see them. I will pull them up. Let me just type this in. Sorry for I should have actually read this before we went live. Bischoff, hobby. Okay. This is Eric Bischoff's recent comments about Tony Khan. All right. Tony Khan had one unique advantage that MLW does not have or anybody else. He had $100 million. He's got an unlimited budget. He's not accountable. It's a really, really, really well-funded hobby. And that's not a negative. It's not a do-or-die situation for Tony Khan. This is his passion. I agree with Eric Bischoff 100%. I agree with him 100%. I don't think Eric Bischoff is really talking more about the now. I think he's talking about a couple of years ago. You know, MLW doesn't have that kind of funds to start off with a gigantic loaded roster, overpaying people, then going to TV networks. I mean, look, MLW goes to Reels, and MLW shows their video package to Reels why you should put us on there, and you put it on there, it's like 200 people in attendance. Yeah, I mean, what do you think Reels is going to say? Yeah, here's a cupcake. Here's a cupcake and a cup of coffee. Like, how do you really sell that for tons and tons of money? You draw 200-300. You're giving us pre-recorded stuff. It's like, you know, the fuck are we going to do with this? Oh, you know, Tony Khan set up this gigantic promotion, put a boatload of people on the roster, bought the rings, production, full strength, everything, pomp and circumstance, did not feel like it was done on the cheap. Then he, as he's doing this, goes to the networks and say, I'm, pun intended, going all in. I'm putting $100 million in this company. Do you want to put it on your network? So Tony Khan had something that no one else has had. No one has had that opportunity. No other billionaire out there decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to take $100 million and set up shop. And then, you know, so no, I agree with Eric Bischoff. This time around, I don't think Eric Bischoff is really criticizing Tony Khan, but this is a well-paid funded hobby, because as long as there's TV, see, we don't know AEW's books. You know, I've said it many times. You know, I could make $50,000 doing something, but if I'm putting in $100,000, you know, am I making money? No, I'm not making money. We don't know what AEW makes or loses. He puts in crazy amounts of money, and yeah, look, he's getting a nice chunk of it at All In. But when you see House Rules only getting 2,000 people, and you see this other event coming up and it's only got 2,000 seats, and this and that, I mean, not everything can be happy birthday. Not everything is Christmas. Not every episode of Dynamite can have the Cracker Jack surprise. Not every event is going to be all in, and plus there is a crazy amount of money involved with this. It's not just, the building's $400,000 to rent. First of all, it's a lot more than $400,000 now. But second of all, you got to pay thousands of people to work. You got to pay for airfare, hotels. You got to pay for insurance. You got to pay for this, a bond, and that. There's a boatload of money. A lot of people don't have that. That's why I even said, Impact Wrestling, they should go on tour a little bit more. A lot of other promotions cannot spend the money. Yeah, sure. Another promotion could probably sell out 20, 30,000. You don't think Impact couldn't sell 10,000 seats if they go to a foreign country? I'm sure they can. But when you realize the amount of money that you have to put out as a risk, not everybody has that. So Tony Khan, as long as TV is there and as long as he's got billions, I told you, even if he loses $100 million a year, in 20 years, that's not even 15, 20% of his bankroll. And all of his other business ventures, from the Jacksonville Jaguars to all of his other entities that are making money, the losses are not as big. So Tony Khan, no, I don't think Eric Bischoff is criticizing Tony Khan right now. I actually agree with Eric Bischoff, to be honest with you. So thank you for that, by the way. Thank you, Ronnie. Steve Joseph with the 10 spot. Thank you, Steve. Shout out to Steve Joseph. Once Seth Rollins wins the heavyweight championship, I like your thinking. Will Roman Reigns still walk around with 2 belts, and would they still call him the undisputed world heavyweight champion? Yeah, they have to. Once WrestleMania came and went, they had an opportunity to rename. They had an opportunity to tweak it a little bit. Do you remember the rumors? Do you remember the fake tweets of a tag team championship title that was developed that the Usos were going to possess? They were only going to have one title. Do you remember those rumors? I don't remember the exact time stamps, but if you Google it, you'll probably find it. That week on the shows, I started asking a few people that I trust, what's the deal with this? Like, nah, it's not true. WWE likes the visual of holding a whole boatload of championships. And back then when we talked about it, we said, nah, the Usos are going to come out with 4 belts and Roman Reigns is going to come out with 2 belts. And it's going to look even more important because they have 6 titles walking around. The only person that didn't have a championship was Solo. And I don't even think Solo was around yet on the main roster. So, no, they had an opportunity to tweak it, and they haven't. The only thing that will happen is the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship will continue the lineage of the Universal title. I think we said it the night that the World Heavyweight Championship was announced. When Triple H brought that belt out, I think that night we said that Roman's lineage would be the Universal title, because that's the belt that approaches 1,000 days. The other one is only approaching 400 days. Fuck that. All the eyes are on the 1,000. So, they will still call him that. He's the undisputed World Heavyweight Champion. Seth Rollins will be the real World Heavyweight Champion. And then WWE down the line is going to have a little bit of a dilemma. But they're going to have to tweak something. I will say this. I truly think they got to come back with 1 belt down the line. I do think they will introduce a new title. I really do. It might look exactly like the ones that Roman is walking around with now. But hypothetically, if Cody Rhodes wins, see, understand something. Up until 2 weeks ago, before they revealed that they were going to introduce the World Heavyweight Championship, we all expected that whoever beats Roman, if it's Cody, is going to possess 2 championships, Raw and SmackDown. And ultimately, someone would lose one of those championships, and then you would have a Raw champion and a SmackDown champion. Instead of WWE doing that, because they didn't want Roman to lose yet, they created another title. You know who this applies to right now? Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Take note that WWE chose not to just put the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on the line at Night of Champions. Wouldn't that have made a little bit more sense? Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa are SmackDown wrestlers. They should have put just the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on the line. Do you know why? Because you would have more fans that would have said, oh, fuck, Roman and Solo are going to win. Because Sami and Kevin Owens will still have the Raw Tag Team Championships, and they're still Raw guys, so they'll still be champions after Night of Champions. But Roman and Solo will take those SmackDown belts back to SmackDown, and then they'll ultimately drop it to another tag team. That's probably what should have happened. I'm not saying that they should have won it, but if they would have announced that just the SmackDown Tag Team Championships were on the line, you would have tons more people online right now thinking that Roman and Solo were going to win. Believe that. So I think, Steve, once Roman loses the championships, they're going to debut a new design for a new title. I think they'd have to design it for a new title. And because you can't have, if it's Cody Rhodes down the line, Cody walking around with a red and a blue belt. And then if Cody, why would Cody have to defend two different times? Doesn't make sense anymore. Now with the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw. So they're going to have to come up with one belt. They got it, in my opinion. So thank you. Thank you again, guys, for those super shout-outs. All right. Let's head back. Tristan is asking, what do I think of the Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon versus Shawn Michaels God match at Backlash 06? You know, our podcast is still online from that time. It was awful. The God stuff was stupid. You know, it was comedic and everything, but it was just dumb. It was just to play into the storyline about Shawn Michaels born again and everything. And Vince thought, you know, he's so powerful he could beat God. It was stupid. It was dumb. I mean, just moronic. I don't know how else to say it. It was just stupid. I mean, I will admit this. At some points, we wondered, like, is Vince going to be in the ring and start doing this? I got to take my hat and my glasses off of this. I know my hair's all messed up. We would like, now we weren't doing video. I wasn't doing video at the time, but we were like, do you think Vince will be in the ring and start going like this? Like getting hit from God? You know, were they going to do special effects that lightning was going to come down and strike him? You know, we were like wondering really outside the box, like, what are they going to do? It was stupid. Definitely stupid. Rocky Red feels that Christian Cage is a bigger heel than MJF, should get one more world title reign before he calls it a career. I agree. MJF, they had to pull back. You know, understand, you know, the network doesn't want the vulgarity like before. I mean, Jay Cargill can't say the word shit anymore. They block out a lot of the expletives. Yeah, we get blood. Yeah, we get violence. But take note that the violence and the weapons usually happens, you know, around the 10 o'clock hour between 9:30 and 10 p.m. And, you know, it's more in line. But Christian, I mean, he just is on a different level. MJF, they were forced to pull back. Listen, MJF is a tremendous entertainer. MJF, you know, talks beautifully, wrestles, has got a great physique, you know, eats, sleeps, shits what he does. And I respect that more than anything. But, you know, you can't make MJF feel like nobody could take him off his high horse. Because you look at the four pillars and you look at the ratings, this is not CM Punk. This is not a guy that's generating million plus. And MJF is talked about, you know what MJF is talked about the most? when MJF says some of the most outlandish things. Yeah, if I could go on a show and say that your mother's a crackhead and she was a whore and this and that, yeah, you're going to be like, oh, fuck. What? I can't fucking believe he said that. When you could say anything you want to say, people are going to be like, oh, fuck, so there's limitations. I mean, Christian, getting creative, obviously getting clearance from Jungle Boy and getting clearance from Wardlow to talk about their dads. But Christian is just smooth as silk. I wouldn't mind Christian getting a run one more time before he retires. The only thing is, understand this. When you talk about Christian, like you just did, and like I just did, we're talking about this. We're not talking about in the ring. Christian, the question is, can he do it on a weekly basis, a semi-weekly basis? How much can he still do? Like we give Christian his most attention when he talks, just like MJF. MJF had an incredible match with Bryan Danielson, but MJF is not selling out, buildings. MJF is not, generating crazy pay-per-views numbers. He's not generating crazy merchandise. He's not doing bad, but this is not like, Cornerstone, that, he's the record maker, the record breaker, and making all this, revenue. He's a top tier talent. But Christian, again, we're just blown away with the psychology and, he's just amazing on the mic. I just don't know how much he can still go, on a regular basis. So, but Christian, generating the heat, man. Love it. William is asking, do I think the Usos ever get the tag belts at some point? Absolutely. Absolutely. The Usos are not 50 or even, 45. They're not even that. The Usos can still bring it at a high level. Usos, the majority of their run, they were heels. Yes, I remember early on when Roman was feuding with Jay and, everything else going on, but the Usos' most recent run is when they were heels. When the Usos do regain those championships as baby faces, it'll feel so much different. The Usos absolutely will win tag team gold again. I think Kofi and Xavier down the line will get gold again, and I know, they've held it plenty of times already, but yeah, why not? The Usos, when people were trying to compare the Usos and FTR, one thing I kept saying over and over again, I thought it was totally unfair. Usos absolutely tag team of the year. It's not FTR's fault. It's not that FTR didn't deliver. It's that AEW chose to use them in a very lackluster way. We were pointing out last year that they had only 6 or 7 matches under the AEW banner, and we were in the month of November, and I think their record was like 2-3 or 3-4. And yeah, they did a Ring of Honor. Yeah, they did New Japan. Yeah, they did this. But FTR, they didn't have enough matches. Usos were on TV every fucking week. Usos were wrestling over 100 times. Usos wrestled close to 100 times. So, of course, it's like, listen, anybody that's hardcore FTR fans, look at it like this. I think you'll understand. If you're a baseball fan, if you're a football fan, if you're a basketball fan, if your favorite player only played 5 NFL games, but killed it in those 5 games, he's probably not going to win any stat awards during the year because he didn't put in enough games, enough quarters. It's like a baseball player. Unfortunately, so-and-so cannot win the batting title because so-and-so didn't have at least 330 at-bats. They only had 200. A basketball player, this guy is averaging 50 points a game, but he only played 30 games for the entire season. That's why, by default, the Usos ranked higher than FTR. But understand this. even if you're not an Uso fan, you have to acknowledge, no pun intended, the fact that the Usos were on TV that much. And one thing you did not see online during 2022, you did not see fans in even, I don't even want to say droves. You didn't see any buzz like, I'm fucking sick of the Usos on TV. Again? They're wrestling again? Why are we still seeing it? Like, nobody got sick. And they were on Raw. And they were on SmackDown. They were doing double duty many, many weeks. So why would you not put the belts on them again? They are a special kind of team. Absolutely, they will win the gold again. Absolutely. Well, you know what? Listen, Bash, I got to say this in defense of Tony Khan. I know. Listen, I criticize Tony Khan a lot, but I will give him some defense here. Understand that FTR, especially with Dax, there is a balance with family, with not working full time. There is some mental health stuff going on. And that doesn't make him soft in any way, shape, or form. It makes him human. So FTR, understand everyone, they may cut a promo and say, we want to fight, we want to wrestle, we want this, we want opportunity. Yeah, that's a promo, but their run in 2022, the amount of matches they had might be exactly what they were looking for. I'm not convinced that FTR was looking to wrestle full time in 2022. I think there was a very much needed balance between family and career. So I don't really blame it a lot on Tony Khan because we don't know if this is really what they planned for in 2022. And if that is the case, that is probably the reason why TK didn't put the tag titles on them while they were Ring of Honor, IWGP, AAA Tag Team Champions, because they were working very, very, very light schedule. That could be it. So you can't put all the criticism on Tony Khan because we really don't know what FTR was looking to do in 2022. Michael Gonzalez is asking, do I think we get an Edge versus Austin Theory feud by SummerSlam? It should happen. It should happen. I think we're getting a little tired of Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. But sure, why not? I mean, Austin Theory, at some point we thought he was going to follow the Legend Killer type deal. Going after Ray, going after Lashley, going after Cena, going after older wrestlers. Yeah, I could see Edge cutting promos talking about kid. And yeah, I know they've interacted before. But yeah, I mean, now it's on a different level. Because Austin Theory back then is not the Austin Theory of now. So it is a much, much different set of circumstances. So yeah, I think that would be great. And who knows, maybe Edge does dethrone him of the United States Championship down the line. I wouldn't mind seeing Edge and Austin Theory going at it. The only thing that kind of hesitates me is, the way it feels right now is like Austin Theory is close to Teflon. So whoever he feuds with is probably not going to come out on top. I don't know if I want to see Edge, just not saying passing the torch, but I don't want to just keep seeing like wrestlers that are willing and able, and especially somebody like Edge, get into a program and the outcome is that he's going to lose. If Edge now with this World Heavyweight Championship thought, listen, I think he's going to go up with Roman. I want to see Austin Theory feud with Roman, to be honest with you. I don't think it's happening anytime soon, but that would be pretty intriguing to see Austin Theory and Roman. Remember that Photoshop I did last year? I wrote too soon with a question mark, and it was Austin Theory standing above a laid out Roman Reigns. That was before Austin Theory lost the briefcase, because I just felt this guy's going to be a main eventer sooner than later. So, Psycho is asking, do I think the authors of Pain would return to WWE. I do. After that disaster of their attempt at having a wrestling promotion, I don't have all the details in front of me, but if any of you out there are not aware of it, do a little Google search. Just type in AOP wrestling promotion. They were going to launch, like, have this big event, and they were flying in, I think, Nia Jax and others. And I know some people are immediately going to say, this doesn't sound like a big event just because Nia Jax said. No, they were bringing in some pretty big names, and it just fell apart. I think their attempt at having a promotion, it may not be over, but I think AOP down the line, they were too good. They had such an high ceiling that was not even close to being touched. Plus, when you look at WWE now, this is something that I've said numerous times in the last bunch of months. WWE now arguably may have more big boys on their roster than maybe at ever a point in their existence. Yes, I was around in the 80s when they had Big John Studd and they had King Kong Bundy and Kamala and Hogan, and I'm leaving some names out. Akeem, Big Boss Man. Well, you look at that fucking roster now. You look at your Bronson Reed, you look at your Otis, you look at Veer Mahan, Sangha, you look at even Von Wagner, and you look at Braun Strowman, and there's so many people that I have left out still. The AOP, there's enough people that they can tango with. So, yeah, I think they could. I don't put Uncle Elmer on that list. Uncle Elmer, I never liked the Country Boys at that time. I wasn't a fan of Hillbilly Jim until years later. Every time, don't go messing with a country boy. I wanted, seriously, who was Cousin Junior? Oh my God, I wanted somebody to just crack him over the head with a baseball bat. Seriously, I hated Cousin Junior. I mean, I just never liked that family. When they were feuding with Orndorff and Piper and all that, I loved it. I loved it. When Piper interrupted the wedding, I was like, good. At that time, some people would cheer for the heels, but at that time, I was like, good, get these fucking hicks off my TV. I'm nothing against Southern people, but, oh, man, I hated them at the time. Oh, God. Seriously, I freaking hated them. All right. Yeah, Larry, you're right. Yokozuna, Mabel, Bastion Booger, Bam Bam, Giant Gonzalez, Undertaker, Diesel. But if you look at WWE's roster and you look at guys over 300 pounds, I think they got more now than they did at any point in their existence. And adding AOP to them, I think would be a good deal. So just, bringing them in is one thing. Having them develop on the food chain is another. I mean, look at some of the people Triple H brought back. Let's be honest. Some of them have not worked out. It's just some people don't have the heart. It's not nice to say to somebody on social media because everybody's human. You kind of feel bad. You don't want to say like, oh, so-and-so, what a fucking failure. Oh, now I know why Vince released so-and-so. Whoever you want to put in that sentence. It's a little harsh, and it's not the nicest thing to do. And yeah, it may not necessarily be the wrestler's fault. It might be the creative. That's why you don't just sign people because it feels good. You don't just bring someone back because it's the right thing to do, because Vince McMahon fucked up. Bringing someone back is nice. Now they're back, and now the new regime don't even fucking fix it. It's like, okay, why did you bring this person back? So, let's be honest. Edge is not leaving WWE yet. Edge is working the tail end of his career. I think Edge wants, legitimately, I think really Edge wants his kids to witness him winning a championship before he retires. I really believe that. I think, that might sound a little bit trivial for some of you out there. It's not. It's not. Goldberg coming back, a lot of reasons because of his son. And so his son, listen, money was obviously a big deal too. But, when it comes to family, MVP MVP. I mean, he hasn't won any titles himself. He's managed champions. But one of the things with MVP wanting to come back too is for his kid to see what he's doing. So family does play a role in it. I think Edge and I think WWE really will put a championship title on Edge before he calls it a career. All right. I sparked a lot of names, examples, people that Triple H. See, I don't want to say Triple H made a mistake. I think Triple H just proved Vince's point, why some people were released. I mean, let's be honest. Triple H got some people back, and, I think the one person that they're probably working on the most right now is Bronson Reed. I think Bronson Reed is the one person right now that they are really trying to take to the next level. I think it's do or die with Bronson Reed right now. I think in 3 months, if Bronson Reed is not to that next level, Bronson Reed's going to start getting jobbed out to people that it's just going to look pathetic on TV. And I'll be honest with you, my gut feeling is that Bronson Reed will go to the next level. I think Bronson Reed, I think they just got to find the right connection with the fans. I think Bronson Reed will stay for a while. I think Bronson Reed definitely is salvageable. So I am not throwing any shade on Bronson Reed. I think they just got to find the right connection with the fans. Do you want him to be lovable and goofy? Do you want him to be a little bit of an attitude? Do you want him to, be like just neutral? You want him to be, I don't want to use the term, but lone wolf, he does his own thing. They got to get the right connection with the fans. Omos has already proven that he has gotten a lot better. I think after these 3 recent matches, Braun Strowman, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins, I think people now got to shut up about complaining about Omos having a match. Omos has delivered. And I am happy. I am extremely happy that Omos has already turned the corner. He's already turned the corner. We're at 52 minutes, so we're going to start bringing this home soon. It's almost time. I see a lot of people bringing up Randy Orton, and for good reason. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr., Randy Orton's father, did an interview. For people out there that don't know why Randy Orton has suddenly become this trending topic the last 24 hours. Listen, we all miss Randy Orton, but there's a specific reason now why. Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. did an interview, and over the last 24 hours, the interview was released online. And in that interview, he said that Randy's, working out, trying to heal, and they said, talking about Randy, but he also said a comment that he thinks the doctors told Randy not to return to the ring. Now, let's put journalism aside for a minute. Let's just put in its place father and son. Do you think, after all this time, that Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. does not know 100% if the doctors told his son that he should not return to the ring? What Cowboy Bob Orton did was Cowboy Bob Orton does not want to break a news story that could hurt Randy Orton's return. So he said, I think the doctors told Randy. What do you think, Randy didn't tell his dad? You think when they hang out at Christmas time and Father's Day and birthdays and, family barbecues, hey, son, how you doing? All right. Oh, good. All right, see ya. Of course, Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. knows what the deal is with his son. It's not his place to put it out there. So when he said, I think the doctors told him, that's him basically saying, hey, I don't want to fucking put it out there. I think he started saying it and then realized, I got to be a little bit vague about it. No, it's not big news, guys. We've known about Randy Orton's back issues for over a year. Since he left since he's been taken off TV and he's been home recuperating. We all know that Randy Orton had a serious injury that we don't know when he's going to return. We don't know. Listen, if Randy Orton, you know why Randy Orton, I think, will return? Simple as this. Because if Randy Orton had a career-ending injury, and that's it, doctors told him cannot return, doesn't recommend it, this and that, that's it. I think by now it would have been some clarity that Randy Orton is not returning. The fact that Bob used the word think, he doesn't want it to be a statement. I think the doctors told him. He didn't say, well, the doctors told him not to wrestle anymore. He said, I think, because they don't want it to be a clear and concise answer. But Randy Orton will be back. And when he does come back, he defied doctor's orders. He pushed. How many doctors told Paige not to return? Didn't Paige say that she found one doctor that said it's not that cut and dry? Believe me, guys, if you think that this isn't like a gum commercial, that 99 out of 100 doctors told Paige, no, don't return to the ring. And she finally found a doctor that says, yeah, you could return to the ring. That's it. It's my house now. It's my house again. No, that's not. That's, playing off the, but she had a lot of doctors that thought she shouldn't return. There was doctors that told Bryan Danielson, you shouldn't return. So look at Randy Orton, similar to others who have returned. Don't turn this into melodrama like, oh my God, if Randy retired, then we, thank you, Randy. And Randy, if you never return to the ring, what was his top 10 moment? He didn't die. People are being melodramatic about it because it sparks conversation, it clicks, gets hits, views, likes. Nothing has changed with Randy Orton. We knew before Cowboy Bob Orton said, I think the doctors told him not to return to the ring. We all knew this already. We knew this already. People are going to bait it and, self-induced drama because it sparks up convo. Look, we're talking about it right now. But we're talking about it because everybody is talking about it. But downplay it. Randy Orton, I think, will return. I do. Thank you, William, for the kind words. Like I said, unfortunately, being straight up and using common sense, there's a lot of people. Shut up. Sami Zayn. How many people out there that do articles and shows the last 24 hours are still saying, like, the fuck is Sami Zayn going to Saudi Arabia for? It's fucking dangerous. And they have yet to even put it out there about Syria joining the Arab League. It's shh. No, we can't have a logical answer. Shut up. There's people that do that. All right. Let's start bringing this home. Pancakes or waffles? I don't mind rapid fire, Germ. Pancakes or waffles? See, next week we'll probably have some corny convo about that. Because remember, next week is going to be, some serious, not so serious, but, just regular talk. Probably most of it will have nothing to do with wrestling. Some people want to just talk about like everyday issues. They want to talk about some tragedies. They want to talk about the world, talk about relationships, talk about health stuff. That's one of the things that we do on Patreon that gets wild at times. I mean, if you would have said to me last week that I got like 10 times the better feedback because we talked about insomnia, because we talked about people having trouble taking a shit. We had talked about relationship stuff. We talked about depression. We talked about, and it was like, it actually helped people. I swear to God, I don't want to say his name. I got a DM yesterday from somebody who said to me, DT, thank you so much for doing your Patreon show this week. I went on Amazon. I bought Mag CRT because I told people to take magnesium. He says, not only did I sleep like a baby, I woke up 9 o'clock the next morning. And I took the biggest dump in my life. And if you tuned into the show, you would understand why I said to myself, that's believe me, next week's I think it's gonna catch on, really. We just got to figure out names. So Maggie says Thunder Rosa, I think, is out with a back injury too. She's doing Spanish commentary. Listen, I think reintroducing Thunder Rosa to TV, I think she's coming back to the ring soon. I really do. Miro going into TK's office is to set up Wednesday. Thunder Rosa going into TK's office is to set up Wednesday. Now we have to see if CM Punk is in New York City on Wednesday. No one is bringing that up. Well, we toyed with it the other day. Look, she's been on Spanish commentary before. She has done a lot of appearances for AEW. She just wasn't part of the TV product, the weekly product. So introducing her to TV, unless they're going to make her a commentator for Collision, put a little women's spin on things, that's a possibility too. But I'll phrase it like this. Thunder Rosa is returning to television. And it's not just what we saw on Wednesday. Reintroducing her to weekly TV, either she is close to an in-ring return, or maybe she might do interview segments. While she's rehabbing, she might do interview segments. And guess what? You know what that reminds me of? And I'm sorry for revealing how old I am. It's back when Terry Funk, in 1989, when Terry Funk was in WCW or NWA, no, WCW. And he was doing interview segments. And he had just done movies, but he wasn't back in the ring. When he turned on Ric Flair and beat the shit out of Ric Flair, and that led to the I Quit match, Terry Funk was doing interview segments. Terry Funk is my favorite wrestler of all time. In 1989, and I'm watching him in the ring wearing a suit, terrible Terry Funk doing interview segments. I'm like, this sucks, man. I want to see him in the ring. And then he turned. So I think Thunder Rosa, if you ask my gut feeling, I think Thunder Rosa returns maybe as a backstage interviewer, maybe Jake Cargill, maybe, someone else. People start fucking with her a little bit. She's doing interview segments with women, and some of them are throwing some nasty remarks to her. Why don't you get your ass back in the ring? Oh, look at you. You can't even. And I think that will lead to her returning. I think that's what could happen with Thunder Rosa. I think that's what could happen to her. All right. Tristan says, in my honest opinion, who do I think should have ended the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak? I'm going to stick with what I've said all along. I don't think Undertaker's WrestleMania streak should have ever been broken. I think the Undertaker should have retired sooner, but I think the Undertaker should have retired undefeated at WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar did not need that win. Understand this, guys. Understand this and think about this. I know from Steve Austin to others who have said Roman Reigns should have ended the Undertaker streak. Take note of something. Take note of something, because I have. Take note of this. And when you have conversations with others that throw it in your face, that, Austin and Undertaker and other people all say the same thing, that Roman Reigns should have been, take note. Not one of them said it at the time when Roman Reigns was getting booed out of the fucking building. You remember any legends at that time saying Roman Reigns, he should have ended his streak that night. It's my yard now. That should have been ending his. No, everybody says it now because Roman Reigns is the person that he is now. Back then, if any of these people would have said, Roman Reigns, he should have been the one to end the streak. People, what are you, out of your fucking mind? We fucking hate this guy. What are you, out of your mind? Nobody said it. Somebody might have said it, but almost nobody said it. They wait until Roman Reigns is over. Now it's like, yeah, he should have been. No, at that time, we would have thought those people were on something. That's why when you see, you got to listen. Again, I know it's cute and sexy, get the one-lines and everything, but take a step back and say to yourself, why didn't you say this back then when Roman did defeat him at Mania? Why didn't you say at that time, you know what? He should have ended his streak. Because at that time, people had thought they were nuts. Now it sounds like, yeah, you're right. No. And I'm fine with Roman Reigns right now. If the Roman Reigns now, or even 2 years ago, would have ended Taker's streak, I would have been fine with it. To me, Undertaker should have retired undefeated. Merchandise, memorabilia, that big O, something that no one else will ever come close to. Nah, I think he should have retired from WrestleMania undefeated. Yes, tombstone that like button. I'm going to jet out of here in 9 minutes. We're at 65 minutes. We'll end it in 9 minutes. And I want to thank everybody for joining me today. Love the questions. Like I said, I'm going to talk to a few people, figure out a little bit more what we're going to do about the video side of things. I promise you, at minimum, the live shows will still be available for everybody. But like I said, going forward, there's going to be some change because honestly, I don't want to get rid of video. I like showing video clips. I like showing pictures. I like showing things that we're talking about, especially when we talk about that WWE filing with Endeavor. I was reading some things I know you're going to want to check out. So I like doing video. But again, if we're going to do it, then obviously, especially if this is going to put in extra work, then we got to change a few things here. So if I told everybody, hey, just, download the audio show every single week on top of the video show, yeah, that's fine and everything, and that kind of helps things, but then it inflates numbers, artificially, and I don't want that. So, okay. Let's answer a couple of more questions. Can my spouse carry my unconscious body out of a burning? If my place was on fire right now, could my wife carry me out? No, it's impossible. She ain't going to be able to pull my ass out. In fact, believe it or not, I will reveal something right now. This coming a week from today, I'm either going back on keto or I'm going to start the Mediterranean diet. I haven't decided yet, but I am going on one. I put on 9 pounds since I got married. I haven't gained anything in a month, but I want to drop 20, 25 pounds by the summer. So next week, I'm either going to start Mediterranean or I'm going to go back on keto. I haven't decided yet. So I don't drink Starbucks. The non-wrestling stuff, we'll talk next week. But I don't drink Starbucks. I make my own coffee. I have an espresso machine, pour over, V60, Chemex. I have like 9 different brewers. I wake up, AeroPress lately, everything is AeroPress. I even have Joe Presso. Somebody just gifted me a NanoPresso. So I make my coffee at home, man. I make my own shit. Every day I'm making I got into coffee big. It's not that women can't lift any man verse. I'm fucking 267 pounds. My wife is like 5'3". Like, I don't even think she could pull my salami out of the house. Don't fuck with my salami. Shit's ceramic. When somebody said that I should have hit Vinny Guido with my salami, this shit is ceramic. This thing weighs about 30 pounds. This is not a joke. Don't mess with my salami. Today is the anniversary of the first In Your House show. What were my thoughts of the idea? One of my favorite. I would have to really, I haven't thought of WWF In Your House in years. I would have to go back and look at cards. I will tell you, though, I loved the In Your Houses. They were cheaper in price. They were 2-hour events. I mean, I'm giving you my immediate just thinking of In Your House. I freaking loved it at the time. Mankind was coming in around, a little bit later on, and he was featured, Undertaker. I loved how they had, like names for each one. And In Your Houses were great, man. I don't remember if they were $14.95 or $19.95. They weren't $9.95. Definitely weren't that cheap. But I think they were either $14.95 or $19.95. In Your Houses were a lot of fun, man. Those shits were a lot of fun. And they were short. Believe me, when we used to tape them on VHS, it was cool to be able to go sometimes, on 2-hour speed, or you go EP mode, 4-hour speed. But those were good. It's the anniversary too, and thank you, John, for saying this earlier. Today is the 2-year anniversary that New Jack passed away. And I can't believe it's 2 years already. I thought a year. I can't believe it's 2 years already. That guy, somebody replayed earlier Paul Heyman's tribute to New Jack. I thought that was beautiful. New Jack, crazy motherfucker, definitely did some sick things that, people have every right to be very, very upset about. But, again, when I played that clip of myself, the Mass Maniac, Axel Rotten, God rest his soul, and New Jack, God rest his soul, I laughed so hard that night, and I played it 2 years ago for everybody here. I laughed so hard. The guy was so fucking funny, and the shit that he used to do to me was hilarious. Even the time when he threatened to kill me on Facebook, getting those messages at 3:00 in the morning, fucking New Jack is on your personal page threatening to kill you. Legit threatening to kill me. And we're not going to get into the whole story here, but it was a misunderstanding. But that guy had a lot of issues. But if you got to be friendly with him, guy was so much fun, man. The one thing that I'll never, ever forget is the episodes where he was begging me to put on my website the pictures of him and Terry Reynolds bleeding like a pig in his house, because he dated Terry Reynolds for a little while. And he's like, yo, Anthony, you got to put these pictures on your website. And he sent a couple of the pictures to me and the Mass Mania. I think I still have a few. And I looked at him. I said, Jack, I can't put this on my website. Why not? He had newjackuncut.com, I think, at the time. And I was like, how come you don't put it on your I'll get in trouble. What's going to happen to me? He wanted me to put all, because at the time he was feuding with Terry Reynolds. And he wanted me to put all these bloody pictures of Terry Reynolds because it's a long story. Crazy. And if anybody thinks I'm lying, a lot of people like to tell stories like this after people are dead. And yes, New Jack is dead, but the Mass Maniac is not. You can go right on his Twitter, Mass Maniac XXX, and ask him if what I'm saying right now is a lie. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. Motherfucker threatening to kill me. And the worst part about it is Mass Maniac Frank Goodman could have resolved that in 5 minutes. The Mass Maniac acted like he went to bed. And instead, for about 6-7 hours, I have relatives, because my personal Facebook page, it consists of just people I grew up with, my family, a couple of people that I'm very, very close friends with, and maybe 3 people online that I had never met, that I was friendly with online. It was mostly just family and personal friends. And they don't follow wrestling, most of them. And they see this fucking black man with crazy, crazy cuts in his forehead on a profile picture, holding a fucking machete. You're like, motherfucker, you show up in Florida, I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. And I was like, oh my God. I got scared. All right, 2 more questions. We're out of here. Kevin says his favorite New Jack moment was Hardcore Heaven 2000. Now, that's a fun moment. There's so many moments with New Jack on TV that I loved. You know what? I even loved his shit with Shark Boy. Shark Boy was a good guy too. I had the privilege of becoming friendly with him a little bit when he came to New York. When, I was mostly responsible for him working USA Pro Wrestling shows, even VPW. I actually made the cooler with Shark Boy and was throwing beers to Shark Boy at a VPW event. I got to find the footage. I don't know where the footage is. That was the night that I was in the car with Dean, that's his real name, and we went to this bar that was right near the venue, and we got pissed drunk, and we were in my car just laughing. And at the time, I was doing my wrestling hotline. And he's like, call your wrestling hotline. I called my wrestling hotline, and I was blasted. And we started doing this impromptu interview. And as I'm doing it, because my hotline at the time, I had 4 options. Each option was, I think, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So you would do 10 minutes and you go to option 2 and option 3 and option 4. So we got to option 2. And when you go back in your voicemail box, it'll say, you have 5 new messages. We got to option 3 and it said I had like 17 new messages within 10 minutes. And I clicked on it and it was people over and over again. The fuck you drinking and driving? What the fuck is wrong with you? You're driving and you're blasting, and they were right. And then Shark Boy's like, no, you got to delete that shit. We fucking deleted it. And it was erased forever. I admit, I should not have been behind the wheel. I've learned my lesson since then. This is almost 20 years ago. This is like 17 years ago, 18 years ago. Should never have been behind the wheel. Luckily, I only drove a couple of blocks because when we left the venue, we were just driving around before I dropped them off at the hotel and we started doing a hotline report. So I might have been behind the wheel for 5 minutes. And yeah, so. All right. Last question for tonight. No favorite pay-per-view regarding my grandmother. My grandmother died in 1991. So, other than the WrestleManias and the SummerSlams, it was only like 3 or 4 pay-per-views every year. So it really wasn't like pay-per-views with my grandmother. She was just, and understand this too. WrestleMania was 85. It was March 31st, 85. But WrestleMania was 85. And by 88, I'm going out to clubs with my friends. Still followed wrestling, but didn't follow it as much as I used to, so I didn't get to go to shows as much with my grandmother the last couple of years. So, yeah, that's it. So I am out of here. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Great questions. I'm going to love typing up the synopsis tonight. I think we got into some really, really strong topics and questions that I think a lot of people are going to be asking over the next couple of weeks. And I'm very curious to see what happens with Night of Champions. But, as far as that Roman Solo, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, he ain't winning no tag titles. No. No. They're not putting any more titles on Roman. At the same time, they're putting a title on Seth Rollins. So Monday night at 11:05, if you'd like to join me, I will be here recapping Raw. And I would say within the next week, I should have everything pretty much set as far as what we're going to do with video going forward. I think the idea of live will be available for everyone, but once that live show is in the books, everything goes members only. I think, number one, it just shows, hey, if you really want to tune in live, here's your opportunity. The only thing that's stopping me, and I'm not going to lie, the one thing that's stopping me is my international friends. My international friends, I don't want them to feel like, hey, I got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning to tune in live. There's got to be a balance. And no matter what I do, somebody's going to be upset. But the thing is that if people want me to continue doing video, even on Wednesdays, there's got to be something. There's got to be a balance here. And like I said, I'm not going to put in till 3 o'clock in the morning and put in decent amount of money as well. And then, you get, a subpar response because I'm somebody's second, third, fourth choice. You got to do something somewhere. So I'll figure it out. Whatever we do, I think it'll be as fair as possible. But like I said, one thing is for sure, the live shows will always be available for everybody. for live, you'll be able to tune in. So that's one thing I won't do. Some people have said, just members only, and that's it. Nah, I don't want to do that. So live will always be available for everyone. So guys, gals, if you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. If you know anyone else out there that would like the channel, let them know about it. And hope to see you Monday night, 11:05. And don't forget, next Sunday, we'll have a different show. It's going to be, we're going to keep the name the same for now, but, I will be advertising it as something much different than pro wrestling. So we'll see what happens. It'll be a really interesting night. I'm probably going to get hit with some pretty sensitive topics to discuss. So be well, everyone. Catch you all again soon. Good night.
It's now time for...
Oh, it's not time for that. It's time for bed. I hit the wrong button. Now I hit the right button.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. I mean, they were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the host. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.